despite the fact that he did not play that sport competitively. Here now to talk about a pretty unique case and what is next for some of the other parents wrapped up in this scandal is partner at Burr and Foreman and former Assistant U.S. Attorney Alex Little. Alex, thanks for being here. Of course, we may break away and head back to the Daytona 500 here in a moment, but getting started here with the Chinese national that will be there, does this speak to really the international effect and involvement in the college admissions scandal?
Well, I think it says two things. One, we know particularly the types of parents who are trying to get their kids into school. There's a huge push among international parents to get their kids into American schools. So it's probably not surprising that some of the folks who have committed this crime come from outside the country. You know, the people who are really facilitating this, the people who are taking the money and getting the university to give the admissions decisions, they knew about these parents. They tried to find this sort of illegal money anywhere. And that's one thing that's happened here. Also, it shows the Department of Justice is willing to indict people outside of the country, jump through the hoops to get them actually extradited to the United States. That's not a small thing, so it shows how serious they are.
Yeah, facing all those extra challenges. Now, I have the plea agreement that was worked out because Xiaoning Su apparently has made a plea agreement with the prosecutors, and they're calling for an incarceration for a period of time served because she's actually been held in a Spanish jail all this time. Just your thoughts on that, given that we've seen some of these parents facing 6 months, a 9-month sentence has been the highest so far.
Well, I think what that also reflects is the fact that the prosecutors know it's a difficult thing to extradite somebody to the United States, and they may lose. They may lose the extradition battle. So they get a guilty plea. She has done some time sitting in that Spanish jail waiting for this to happen, and so it's probably a pretty reasonable outcome for her case.
Yeah, another piece of evidence was also revealed here recently. It is the coxswain application of Lori Loughlin's, one of her daughters. It meets
up. Outrageous.
Yeah, when you see this document, it speaks to a bunch of races that prosecutors argue this young lady never participated in, from the head of the Charles in Boston to winning gold medals, silver medals, in San Diego Crew Classic, the Marin Crew Festival. Your thoughts on just the extent of the alleged effort that went in to fake these applications, as prosecutors allege? Well,
it's pretty, for the viewers who haven't seen this, there's a whole resume that lays out a bunch of races she didn't do that really anybody who had an internet connection in Google would have been able to determine she hadn't actually participated in. So on the one side, it shows the university, there's just no due diligence that's being done at the admissions office to check these things, which allowed this whole illegal scheme to happen. What's interesting, though, is that Lori Loughlin and her husband say they never saw this document, they didn't know it happened, and their whole defense is predicated on, we just gave some money, we didn't really know what was going on behind the scenes to create these sort of intricate documents.
And, you know, one of the fascinating things about this, too, was the university, as you mentioned, due diligence. They had actually tasked the woman at the university, one of the administrators there, with looking into this, and she allegedly, according to prosecutors, was already working with the mastermind of the scheme.
Right. He knew where to pay those bribes, absolutely.
Now, one of the other things, I'm being told we're running out of time, but I was going to ask you about the trials that are upcoming. We don't have time, but I will say that at this point in time, the judge is hoping to get the first group of defendants in this case, of which Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli are expected, the judge would like to see in October. Alex Little, thank you so much for joining us today. A very busy day with the Daytona 500, but I'm so glad we got you on. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Back to Daytona for the president.